and put out a task force who went to the vaults of many banks, and we could see that there was actually no cash scarcity or naira scarcity. However, the banks were not releasing the funds, as they got from the CBN, even though the money in circulation was not as much as it should have been. However, the banks were seen hoarding and giving into a certain set of people, certain elites, people who were having wedding ceremonies, for instance, and so they could spray the naira while they were dancing at the reception and all of that stuff. So yeah, the banks were accused. Some banks were sanctioned, if I remember correctly. It's one of the reasons why the president, Bola Ahmed Tinubu, has decided to go after Godwin Emefiele. Something, I wouldn't say him, his administration, through the DSS and through the EFCC and the allegations of economic sabotage. And he tried to sabotage the economy according to the allegation, with the naira redesign and the scarcity that ensued as a result of that. Now, that being said, we are having a similar experience now, and I'm looking at why that should be happening at this time. Now, the CBN has come out to say the same banks, deposit banks, are the reason why there is scarcity. As a matter of fact, even the POS operators, the point of sale operators, are also responsible for the scarcity, because they are looking at making extra profit, or they're looking at maximizing their profit, and they don't care who suffers while they're trying to do it. And that's what the CBN has come out to say today. And I want to take stock of what your experience is like. I want to feel your pulse this afternoon. I've spoken, or I've seen my colleagues in our WhatsApp group, complain about the difficulty of getting cash. I've not tried to get recently because, like I always would say, I prefer to do digital banking and all of that stuff. So what's your experience like? I like to know what's your story like in terms of the cash situation in Nigeria. But let's move on now, still staying with the CBN. There is the story that popped up this morning, and the story has got to do with Godwin Emefiele. I just mentioned him not too long ago, and still part of the naira redesign. The story said that the former president, Muhammadu Buhari, did not have a hand, did not give approval for the redesign of the naira. Now, if my memory serves me well, sometime in November 2022, or was it October 2022, we saw Emefiele visit Buhari in his private residence, where they had the chart, and Emefiele came out and said, "Oh, the president is in support. The president is giving more backing to the redesign." We also heard the president speak about the redesign in the year 2022, saying how it is good, how it will stop, the corruption that is going on in governments or various governments. But it's a shocking story now, because remember, there is a forensic audit or some forensic investigation going on in the CBN done by, I'm trying to remember his name now, but he has come out to say that, hey, the whole naira redesign was done in a shoddy manner. It was done in an illegal manner. As a matter of fact, it was the president's aide that gave the approval and not the president. And that's what his report is saying. Just give me a minute so I can get his name and so we can talk. Oh my. Where did I write it down? But while I'm trying to look for the name of the gentleman who was doing the investigation, he also said that the former CBN governor, Godwin Emefiele, had our money, Nigerian money, stored up in banks overseas in several accounts. My goodness. And then the first question that has come to my mind is, are they trying to shield? And this is by no way saying that the former president is guilty of anything, but we're talking. Are they in any way trying to shield the former president from any form of prosecution? Because I mean, if you look back as far back, I mean, even back to the military era, you would not see any former leader, president, or head of state, any one of them who has gone in for any kind of punishment for how he dealt with the country while he was in the arm of affairs. We've not seen any of that, have we? We've seen a former governor, or about a few, is it one or two now? But have we really seen a former president or head of state go through such an ordeal where he's investigated? Have we investigated anyone? That's like the first question we should be asking. Have we investigated anyone? So now coming out to say that Buhari did not give the approval. Yeah, for me, I do not know. They only got affiliated and made of prayer. But the special investigator on the sold bad Nigeria and with entity G or Bazi, that's the name I was looking for, says the recent Naira redesign was not expressly approved by former President Muhammadu Buhari. Mr. Bazi said the approval came from Buhari's aide Sabiu Tunde Yusuf, and this was contained in the investigator's final report submitted to President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. The report also said that former CBN Governor illegally deposited money in about 500 plus accounts abroad. Interesting, right? I'm looking for the right figure. I don't know what's wrong with my notes today, but yeah, in about 500 and something accounts abroad, in foreign currencies, by the way, without the authorization of the board of directors of the CBN. And according to the report, that is a crime in itself. Now, whether he was investing on behalf of Nigerians or on behalf of the CBN, he did it without the knowledge of the board of the CBN, and as a result of that, he may go in for the crime if he's found guilty by the court of law. And I'd like to get your thoughts on that as well. I'd like to get your thoughts, and I want to know what you're thinking about this issue. And yet again, I'm asking a question: if he is going in for this, why are we not seeing, and I've asked this question like 1,000 times and I'll keep asking it maybe till I get an answer, but why are we not seeing the former president also being investigated? Emefiele operated 593 illegal accounts in the US, in the UK, in China. 593, what an amount. I'm wondering how much will be therein. I hope they tell us the figures, and okay. In UK banks alone, he had 543,482,213 pounds in UK banks alone. But like I said, I hope they give us the entire figures, of everything in all of the banks in UK, US, in China. Right, but we'll go for a quick commercial break. When we do come back, I'd like to get your thoughts, and I'll open the phone lines. Just stay tuned. See here, Tonye Cole's petition against Governor Fubara and INEC. Remember, Tonye Cole is still in court. Labour Party's Guba candidate during the 2023 governorship election in Rivers State, Beatrice Dubois, she has withdrawn hers. However, Tonye Cole is still in court, and the Supreme Court will hear the matter in January 2024. January 2024. I think the date is January 15, 2024. That will be when they will hear the matter. And so many people in the past week or in the past few days have called in and said, oh no, why would Fubara do this? Why would Fubara do that? But have you sat down to think that maybe this could also be a factor in the decision-making process of the governor as to why he maybe has decided to implement the Abuja Accord, or better still, call it the Wike Fubara Accord? Could that be the reason? Could that be why he has decided to? But what do you make of this situation? How does this affect governance in Rivers State? We're not supposed to preempt the Supreme Court. However, we can't. Given the situation of things today, given the fact that we don't have too many current news or too many trending stories, this will suffice for big stories today. And given the situation, I'm wondering, could this have a role to play in the governance situation in Rivers State, the politicking happening in Rivers State? And I do know a lot of you have conspiracy theories, but can we try as best as possible to stick to the facts? Because remember, this is hard facts, right? So can we stick to the facts and try our best to talk for development? And I should state that a lot of the times when we contribute, even though we've all agreed that this is supposedly a conversation for development, we tend to let our emotions run high, and we tend to allow our emotions control the conversation, and usually it's not a conversation for development. I do feel sometimes I leave the studio and I'm really drained as a result of the kind of conversations that we have. We have conversations that are usually more of conflicts than constructive, more conflicting than constructive. All right, that being said, it's time for me to open the phone lines. Remember also that we are live on Facebook, Nigeria Info PH. We're live on YouTube, Nigeria Info PH, and we're active on X, Nigeria Info PH. I am Kalada Kurubatuba, and this is Hard Facts, right? Okay, so the phone lines so that you can drop your thoughts and you can tell me what you think and contribute your quota to the development of Nigeria. 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003, right? WhatsApp number for WhatsApp messages 0809 030 6416. Someone said don't be small whenever it is festive period. I'm guessing he's talking about the cash situation, the cash crunch, but that's from Godswill A. Pauline. Victor Sunday says, please tell them in Gokana LJA we don't have any bank, not one. So what can we do to get cash back? Mr. Barry Befe Sunday. Ololade Shogunle says, okay, I don't think that's for me. This one is from Ariet Agiri. Says, I hope they are not making someone a scapegoat in this matter of former CBN governor. All right, that being said, let's go to the phone lines and let's see who we have there. We've got Godspower from HA. Let's start with Godspower. Greetings to you, Godspower. What is on your mind? Please tell me.
Good afternoon, Kalada.
Good afternoon to you.
Yes. Look at what is Leonard. Because our system is so corrupt that they manipulate the judiciary and manipulate the INEC. They can determine for the case of this level that Uzaman, Tonye Cole, so that they can punish Fubara. You know, the problem we have, if you are in control of those things, you can use it to witch hunt. And that's our fear. Many people are predicting. Though we cannot predict the Supreme Court, but we can tell you what the Supreme Court can do. They are gullible. They can do anything. They do according to the.
You can't speak of an institution of such magnitude in that manner.
That is doing that now.
God's power. Listen, you can't say they are gullible. What happened to Imo State? Have you read the?
There was a fourth person.
Like I said, we don't use emotions. We don't use emotions on the show. If you read
let me conclude.
No. I want to correct that notion. If you'd read the Imo State judgment, you would realize that the reason why fourth became first was because they did addition and subtraction. So from the polling unit copy of the police, they realized that certain things were not added to Opus Odima's amount, and they added it, and so he became number one. So you just don't say Supreme Court gave judgments and say they are gullible. That's what I want you to understand.
Okay, let me conclude. I haven't made me known to that one now. What I'm saying is that from what is happening, it seems the people at the hem of affairs have a determining factor.
All right.
That's my conclusion.
All right.
So thank you. God bless you.
Thank you very much for calling in. Regina from Chukuchu, welcome. What is on your mind? Please tell me.
Yeah, thank you very much, Canada. Let me speak on the issue of CBN and.
All right, sorry about that. I get network is crazy from your end, but I've got Clinton from Bori. Clinton, welcome.
Hello, good afternoon.
Yeah, good afternoon to you.
Yeah, talking about the CBN probe on banks and POS operators, I think this is medicine after death. What I know is that these banks are there to make money. That is why they operate. So there's no way they will hoard money from their customers. It does not add. But when you go to banks, these bank operators are telling us that it's a CBN directive. And CBN is telling us they are not aware. So I think CBN should come out and tell Nigerians the truth. Why are they not releasing money to these banks? If you are talking about the POS operators, some of them go to where they sell all these commercial traders and get money from them. That's what they do. That's why they have money. So they buy the money from commercial traders. So the banks and CBN should come out and tell Nigerians the truth. Why are they holding money during this festive period? Then secondly, on the Tonye Cole petition to be heard by the Supreme Court, Nigerians are very much aware that there's a feud between former Governor Wike and Fubara. And now a precedent has been laid from the lower court, the Court of Appeal and the tribunal. And Fubara have won all these cases. So they should, if they are giving any judgment, they should know that Nigerians are very much aware. And if the law is not there will be anarchy and there will be uprising. So I think that Tonye Cole will not be favored at the Supreme Court. Thank you very much.
That's not actually the question I asked you, whether it will be favored or not. That's like preempting the court. But we're asking, does it have any impact on the current politicking or political situation in River State? Basically, that's what we're looking at. Robin from Iche, welcome. What is on your mind? Tell me.
Kalada, my brother. Good afternoon.
Welcome.
Yes. President Ahmed Bola Tinubu caused a private investigator to investigate the former CBN governor.
The CBN entirely, not just the governor. The CBN itself. And other entities. Yeah.
We are fine. Wherein the Commission has provided a legal structure or structures of persons who ought to carry out such investigation. He decided to use a private investigator. Meanwhile, before this result is coming, Emefiele is running bank accounts in America, in UK, in China. We were told by this government that Emefiele was sponsoring terrorists. He was bungled in a manner that does not exist in any civilized environment. They have taunted him, done all manner of things. Today we are hearing he runs accounts without the consent of other directors. How did the private investigator know that other directors are not aware? Is that a report?
I mean, if they were aware, possibly their signatures will be, or there will be signatories to the bank accounts. Don't you think so, or something? There would be a legal document to show that they are in the know. Maybe that's what they're saying.
Kalada.
Yeah, I'm listening.
I will conclude by saying The problems they hinged on Emefiele is what we are suffering now. Cash crunch.
All right.
They said Emefiele is the problem. Today we have cash crunch.
All right.
Good afternoon, Robert.
Good afternoon. So you're saying there's something deeper that you're not telling us. Is that what you're saying?
Deeper than sea.
All right then. All right. Thank you, Robin. Is it Ken from Ubumini? Welcome. Is it Ken? Welcome.
Good afternoon, Canada.
All right. Welcome.
Compliment of the season.
Same to you.
Canada, imagine that the aide of the former president is the one telling the CBN on how to run the Nigerian currency, which we have not known since the administration. Now, Emefiele has been paraded up and down, seeing it as a crime or what he had committed. 3 countries allegedly saying that he banked on those on their banks. Are you telling me, or do the people involved of this issue want to tell the Nigerians that it is only Emefiele's money in these 3 countries? You see,
I don't understand where you're driving at. What do you mean by the countries had to tell them? I mean, they made an investigation. They found that he was running accounts in 3 countries or foreign countries. I mean, they made an investigation and found that. So, where are you going with your argument? Please tell me.
Where I am going is this: for the same investigation prove that it was the former president's aide that implemented that exchanging of currency or whatever way they did it by this time last year. And this time around, we are hearing that Emefiele banked in 3 countries. And you want me to believe that it is only Emefiele's money? There is conspiracy in this whole issue. Let them still investigate to tell us who and who are involved. Thank you very much. Thank
you very much. I've got Silva from Port Harcourt. Oh my, I missed that one. I've got Aves from HA. Aves, welcome.
Canada, good evening.
All right.
This cash crunch that we are facing now. Day before yesterday, I have to carry a check of 100,000 to the bank. They told me that they did not have cash. I have to go back with the check. And what they're supposed to do with the money, they cannot able to do it because of that. I don't know why when it comes to festive like this, to be having cash crunch in the country.
What
that we have last year?
What did
this agreement?
Can you hear me? Can you hear me, Aves? Can you hear me?
Yes.
What did the bank say?
I'm hearing you.
What did the bank say when you went to the
bank?
They
don't have cash. That is what they told me.
They don't have cash at all.
They don't have cash
at all.
That if it is cash, they cannot have it. And they told me that in the morning that they have cash, it was just 20,000 that they are giving, and I need 100,000. So what would I do with 20,000 when you are in need of 100? So this peace agreement in Rivers State between the governor and the former governor. One part of the agreement that I do not. But
we're not talking about the
commissioner.
We're not talking about Aves. We're not talking about the we're not talking about the agreement. No, I'm not. Thank you very much. Moving on, please. Let's read some messages and let's get your thoughts on that. Let's see. This one says, good afternoon. If the report we hear about Emefiele having over 500 foreign accounts in other countries is true, then he deserves to rot in jail. Emefiele is the genesis of the cash crunch that we're experiencing now. IK from Rumigbo. Let's see. This one says, good evening, Kaida. Was there scarcity of Naira currency at the end point of Emefiele's time as CBN Governor, or was it a transition to a well-conceived cashless monetary policy that was sabotaged by Nigerians? Eric Chooks. And that's what I said when I was narrating, and I gave you 2 theories. Some people argued that the banks, the deposit banks, were hoarding the cash at it. Even CBN gave that narrative at that time, saying the banks were hoarding the cash, and they were not allowing the Naira redesign policy become efficient or work as it should. And so, yeah, I think there was scarcity as a result of the poor implementation of the Naira redesign policy. But let's see. Good afternoon, Kalada. The only thing dragging Nigeria back is tribalism, a situation where nobody wants his brother or sister to be punished for their wrong deeds. Imagine a country where citizens are swimming in deep hardship and poverty, and no one is speaking out by way of carrying out a peaceful protest to register their agony. Instead, all we hear daily is that this tribe is witch hunting the other and all sorts of that. Emefiele should squarely face the law and be punished accordingly if found guilty, no matter his tribe and position. Festus from Alaska. I've got Ida from Inkoro. Ida, welcome. What is on your mind?
Yeah, Kalada, I greet you specially.
I greet you too.
Kalada, this cash problem, is it any time we want to celebrate our Xmas, this will be occurring. But when others want to celebrate their own day, they will collect money freely. But when it comes to Christians to celebrate, you will see money issue, fuel issue. It's unfair now. I went to bank to collect money. I'm feeling very sick. They are giving me 10,000 naira out of 40,000 I want to collect. And they're even shouting at me. How do I feel good? I'm saying this because I'm very, very angry. When Muslims want to celebrate, they will give them money. When Christians want to celebrate, they will suffer us. It's very bad.
All right.
Let's stop it too.
All right. Thank you very much, Ida. Moving on. Frank from D-Line, welcome. What is on your mind, please? Tell me.
Good afternoon, Kalada.
Yeah, welcome.
Buhari in-law signed the reduction of the Nigerian currency. If it is true, Kalada, I'm not happy with this current report. Does it mean that the people that are there that day, they tried to prevaricate what was going on that day? Are we for Nigeria? So what I passed through, what other Nigerians passed through, it was signed by our former president-in-law.
Frank. Now, for a better perspective, Yusuf was the presidential aide to Muhammadu Buhari at the time. Yes, he was presidential aide. So maybe he had the capacity
even though it's presidential aide, is he supposed to be the one to sign for the signature? Is it not our president supposed to sign it?
Maybe the president?
Every Nigerian, let us know our president's signature. So that anytime we see the signature, we know the one signed by president or by aide or minister.
Okay.
Here's my comment this afternoon. Thank you and God bless you.
All right, thank you very much. I was going to ask him a question. What if the aide had the permission to? Remember Abba Kyari, and when he died, there were reports that he was the one who signed majority of the documents that emanated from Aso Rock. Remember those stories, right? But let's see. Hello, Canada. The lack of cash is really biting hard on citizens. I plead that CBN should release more cash to banks and stop blaming banks and POS operators. Nicholas Erasmus with that one. This one says, good afternoon, Canada. Telling Nigerians that the former president did not directly approve the Naira redesign is also an indictment on the former president instead of shielding him. He, Muhammadu Buhari, needs to be questioned on many other activities that went on in his government that didn't get direct approval from him. News like this shows how incompetent and the height of negligence among some of our so-called leaders in a Sina clan. This will not be swept under the carpet, but what do I know? Mike from Time. Mike, what do I know as well? What do I know? This one says, from saying he's sponsoring terrorism, now he has over 500 accounts abroad. They're just looking for everything they can to nail the ex-CBN governor, despite working with Buhari in the whole thing he did. This is Nigeria. All right, thank you very much. You did not drop your name, but I do appreciate it nonetheless. This one says, we live in a funny country. Someone somewhere actually wants us to believe that erstwhile President Buhari didn't have an inkling of the redesign of the Naira. Did we all not see Emefiele and Barry posing with the new notes on the pages of newspapers and on social media? Journalists should do some digging and publish evidence that abounds. The only reason why Emefiele is being persecuted is because he tried to stop politicians from vote buying. End of story, Newton Ikire. Now, Newton, I'm trying to remember the date. I think it was October 7. Either October 7 or October or November, one of it. I remember Emefiele visited the president, remember when they were trying to do the redesign and there was the deadline that, December was the deadline. If you'd not changed your Naira notes, to the old ones to the new one at the time, you were going to lose your money. Remember the panic and, politicians were arguing. There was the debate and they were threatening Emefiele, and Emefiele went to visit the president and came out and he was smiling and said, the president has given me his approval to continue with the situation. So that's how I started, and that's why I'm asking the question. Are they trying to shield? But like someone has said, if they're trying to shield them, then are they doing it the right way? Because coming out to say the president did not know, you're giving credence to some of the arguments during his time, or the former president now, during his time as president, when a lot of people said he was not in charge of the presidency, that the cabals were. So could this be giving credence to that conversation, that argument, those conspiracy theories at the time? These are some of the questions in my head, and I'm throwing it out there, and I'd like to get your thoughts. We'll go back to the phone lines, 0817 923 0002 and 0817 923 0003. Remember, you can send your messages to WhatsApp 0809 031 to get your thoughts on all of that. I've got Joseph, and I wonder what Joseph is calling me from, but in a bit I would answer that call. Okay. I was just going through messages on Facebook. I get back to that one. But let's go back to the phone lines. Joseph is calling me from LMA. Joseph, welcome. What is on your mind? Tell me, I'd like to know.
Yo, Canada, good afternoon.
Good afternoon to you. Welcome.
On a Emefiele issue, I think Nigeria problem is all about accountability.
Oh, really?
If you give somebody an opportunity to deliver a responsibility, they hardly account for whatever responsibility is entrusted on them. That is a similar issue with the Emefiele.
Okay.
And whosoever or any other agency that is investigating this Emefiele case, you can imagine that after recovering this loot, some individual will reloot this loot. We are in this country, we heard about the Albacha loot and several other loot being recovered. Yeah. Where are those monies? That is a problem of this country. And on the Tonye Cole Supreme Court issue or proposed issue, I think the governor should allow peace to reign in order that Supreme Court will not overturn or should not overturn the case against him. He should allow peace to reign in the state.
All right.
That is all I can say.
All right. Thank you very much. I've got Paul from Woji. Paul Walker, what is on your mind? I'd like to hear.
Yes, very quickly. Like I said, as it were, the name I goes by is Apoto Paul.
All right.
Speaking from Woji.
All right.
Very quickly, on the issue of scarcity of cash and Oshomo, Emefiele and not of Emefiele. You see, everything boils down to the kind of people we are in this country. Everything is just myself, and myself. And that is why when people are empowered, given the mantles of leadership, they go there and mess the whole thing up. All in the name of, satisfying their ego and massaging their ego. So my final take on this issue is that everybody should be up and doing and then do the needs. So at the end of the day, we have a blissful tranquility we can call our own. Thank you.
All right. Thank you very much. Paul. This message, a very interesting one. It says January 15, Judgment Day. It says, remember that this date is associated with the first Nigerian coup. I mean, have we had another coup? Okay, Nigerian coup. Was it Nigerian coup? Yeah, Nigerian coup. Or was it Biafra War? Which is it? I can't remember now. But then you said, I suspect that date was carefully chosen to execute a coup against Fubara, so I suspect. Law from Port Harcourt. Nigerians and conspiracy theories. But yeah, first coup, January 15. All right. Let's see. Let's keep those calls coming in and let's get your thoughts and let's hear what you're thinking about the big three stories I've brought your way. Number one, we talked about cash scarcity, and I made reference to the start of this year when we had to buy the naira. Yeah, we had to buy so expensive, like we're changing naira to a foreign currency. And then the second big story, still related to the naira scarcity, ex-CBN Governor Tonye Cole said to be operating 593 bank accounts in foreign countries, foreign bank accounts, I should add, foreign bank accounts like in pounds, in dollar, like that. And his crime is that he did not notify the board of directors of the CBN. And also, he's accused of going ahead to redesign the naira without without the permission of the president. Osaro from Elime is calling. Osaro, welcome. What is on your mind?
Good afternoon. My name is Matalayo, sir.
Welcome.
I always believe that in the Supreme Court judgment, sin is going to have it at the end of the day.
But that's not the focus. Whether it's going to have it or not, I'm asking, does this whole situation at the Supreme Court, does it have any effect on the political situation in Rivers State?
Yes, definitely. Definitely, it will have an effect.
No, it will. I'm talking of now. I'm talking about
conditions.
I'm talking about now. I'm not saying if it will or not in the future. I'm talking about now. Okay. Does it have an effect?
Let me just quickly go to the cash crunch. There's something I always perceive in this December period, during our festive period. If you watch, the Christians are always suffering when there is time for we to celebrate our own. But if you check the Muslims, every time they celebrate, 4 times in a year.
I don't think this is about religious. And I do not agree with you. I mean, the beginning of the year when it started, January to March or thereabout, was it April? Was it a Muslim celebration? I'm wondering, was it a Christian celebration? I don't think it's about religion or ethnicity. I mean, we always bring tribalism into all of these things.
But I think Amefile should not just be apprehended for this. They should also call Buhari for questioning.
All right.
Because Amefile is not the head. He's just the head of CBN. What about the president that gave him the go ahead?
All right then. All right, thank you.
They also call the aide to the president. Not only Amefile now.
All right, thank you very much, Osaro. All right, so I'm confused. Why do we always have to throw religion? Or I mean, so it's Christmas celebration, okay, fine, cool, but is it only the Christians that will go to the markets? I'm wondering. Is it only the Christians that will eat this period? I'm wondering. So every other religious entities will not go shopping or will not eat or will not buy stuff because the Christians celebrating their festivities. I mean, come on now. Let's think. Let's see. I've got a commercial break coming up. Let's start with this one. Good afternoon, Canada. Nigeria is a funny country. How can they come out with this assertion that the former president did not approve the redesign of the new Naira note? If the former president is not behind it, why did he not come out then and say it? But he was the one shaking hands with. Okay, after the commercial.
On behalf of his
Mike's message. Mike is texting from New Road, and he was talking about Nigeria being a funny country. How can they come out with this assertion that the former president did not approve the redesign of the new Naira note? If the former president is not behind it, why did he not come out then and say it? But he was the one shaking hands with Emefiele and displaying the new Naira notes. Mike from New Road. All right, Mike, thank you. This one says, if only these discoveries about Emefiele can also be extended to Adisirika, who you say deceived Nigerians about launching a national carrier with hired aircraft from Ethiopia and also a mock rice pyramid launching. This will help. It should not be selective, please, John. I hear Sirika is supposed to face the House of Representatives, yeah, so that he can explain the whole national carrier stuff, right? Okay, not for me, for my colleague, I guess. This one says, former CBN Governor Emefiele is being punished for the belief that he caused scarcity of money during the 2023 elections. What is still keeping this present CBN Governor from being invited for serious questioning by DSS and EFCC for causing cash scarcity in the midst of Nigerians' worst economic suffering? Victor from Egbema. Victor, Emefiele has got several charges he's facing. Is not just facing, cash scarcity, and that's not even how they tagged it. So to put it, economic sabotage was what they mentioned. This one says, Canada, I think you're biased. How can you allow Ida to? Okay, you said, hope you're not encouraging religious brawl. TJ from Rumahalo. But TJ, if you had listened, I ended the conversation once you mentioned that. So I'm wondering where you're coming from with your arguments. But if I'm biased, I'm sorry about that. This one says, anyone that wants to be rich at the expense of Nigerians should face the riot if found guilty. And for Tonye Cole, I think it is time everyone shades their interest and stand with Sim Fubara to liberate Rivers State. Lady V. Okay, I'm guessing Tonye Cole also has his plans of how to liberate Rivers State as well. If Buhari did not approve the redesign of Naira notes, why did he unveil the new currency? Eric Chicks is asking. Very good question there. And that's why I'm asking once again, is this an attempt to say, oh, okay, he's a former president, so he's an untouchable? And like I said, I mean, go as far back as the military era, we're yet to see any former leader, could be president, head of state, we're yet to see any one of them going for how they handled things when they were in control of the country's affairs. Right, so we've got the business news up next. You do stay tuned. When we come back, we'll look at something that is currently happening, or that did happen earlier today, and it has to do with Rivers Youths, NLC, Labour generally coming out to say we stand with the governor of Rivers State. I'd like to get your thoughts on that. Stay tuned.